A long time ago, back in the early days of the medium, video games used to be awesome. Now they're mostly trash, a burning garbage heap of dull first-person shooters, uninteresting, cynical cash grab clones of superior predecessors, and even more cynical quote-unquote freemium games that are laden with microtransactions the way a pig's trough is laden with pig slop. But every once in a great while, a diamond sneaks through the dung heap. Every once in a great while, a modern game is good. This is their story. Bow, bump, bump. Just pretend there was a Law and Order noise there. Hi everybody, I'm the world-renowned historian. I used to love video games, and now I pretty much hate most modern video games, except for a precious few exceptions. Here is one of them. You are the lone survivor of a crashed space freighter on an unknown planet. I prefer to play as the loader, not only because of the reference to Ellen Ripley in the wonderful film Aliens, but there are a great number of other characters to choose from as your lone survivor, including the mercenary, bandit, huntress, engineer, miner, sniper, the robot Han D, the wonderful alien Acrid, or the somewhat hilarious chef, which reminded me both of a Sesame Street puppet and the old-school arcade game Food Fight. The story of the game is no more complex than fighting your way back through a variety of terrains and enemies to get back to your ship to escape the planet. But as is often the case with video games, the true artistry comes through in the visuals and the execution of the gameplay. The gameplay itself is an inspired blend of both the Metroidvania and roguelike genres, and you're probably wondering what that means. First of all, Metroidvania is a portmanteau of Metroid and Castlevania, referring to any game that has a sprawling, interconnected world map where you need certain power-ups to unlock a different part of the map. Now, Risk of Rain didn't necessarily use that element, since it's level-based, but the platforming influences are quite obvious. It incorporates the roguelike elements of some randomization, and also permadeath of the character. Basically, you die once, and you start over. And there is some randomization within the levels. Power-ups will be in different places, you will face different bosses on different levels, and the levels will be in a different order. There are some levels you won't see on every particular playthrough. The point of each level is to find the portal and activate it, which summons the boss. Even after you defeat the boss, you have to survive a certain amount of time before you can actually teleport using the portal. So here's our first portal, we'll activate it. Now we gotta stay alive for 90 seconds, and here comes the first boss. It's the magma worm. There, we'll use one of the loader's powers to hurt everything between that electrical beam. And again, all these powers take a little bit of time to recharge, but you see we did well against that boss. But now we just have to survive the 90 seconds. 40 now. Well, 50 more, I should say. That's the amount of time we have to survive until we can actually teleport through the portal. Alright, so these shrines are kind of like a gambling machine. Each time you hit them, you might get a power-up, or you might not, and it will just increase the amount of money you spend next time you try. I forget how many you can get each time, but I just got one that it caused those snowballs or frosticles or whatever to go around, and they each hurt an opponent who's close to you. That's another use one, and again, I remember I said we could only have one use power up at a time. That one drops and detonates 50% of your money. Not worth it. I prefer to have the heal, personally. So there, our 90 seconds have elapsed, so now we can just kill the last few enemies who spawned, and we will be on our way to the next level. Now, there is an element of strategy here because the game gets harder the longer you linger in each particular level. But why would you linger? Well, let's talk about power-ups. Another thing that makes this game completely unique on every playthrough is its power-up system. Basically, you can collect as many power-ups as you can kill enough enemies to raise enough gold to purchase, and they are stackable. So if you get 5 of the double jump power-ups, you can double jump 5 times. Every power-up you get counts, and every single one stacks. So do you build Superman, but let the game get extra hard to meet your abilities, or do you speed through the levels and try to face the final boss with whatever power-ups you happen to muster, but, he's weaker too because you haven't let the game get that hard? It's a dilemma. So, as you can see, our power-ups are now completely taking up both sides of our lower screen as this door on our ship opens. And that's... if you don't speed through the game, we're at insane difficulty now, but if you don't speed through the game, you'll get to where the power-ups take up, the entire both sides of both screens, or both sides of the screen, I should say, and you will have probably stacked most of them, which is awesome. Along the way, you can buy drones, and those follow you around like a cloud around your head and shoot at your enemies. So that's yet another element of strategy to the game. Save your money for power-ups, or develop and maintain your drone army for the coming final battle. Yes, go forth and conquer, my drones. Another thing I dearly love about the game is its visual style. It really underscores the fact that bigger and prettier and more technologically advanced does not necessarily mean better when it comes to graphics. This game is basically almost pixel art, like closer to 8-bit than modern graphics. In some ways, it almost reminds me of like a 50s vision of what the future would be. And yet its graphics affect me on an emotional level far more so than any modern Call of Duty or Star Wars Battlefront or God knows Fortnite. Here you see just the variation in the visuals and just the, just the impressionistic kind of, as I learn to play and talk at the same time. You see the impressionistic style, I guess, where just a few lines of paint in the background can suggest, Antarctica or whatever it is, some icy frozen waste. I don't know. It's really impressive, and it affects me much more so than does so-called modern graphics in Call of Duty or the Order 1888 or whatever the case may be. It's entirely possible that bigger is not always better. And if you ask me what the difference is there, I will shrug in your face. It's just that I know it when I see it. I've seen graphics from the 60s that are embarrassing, and I've seen graphics from the 60s that, affect me far more than the best graphics from today. I've seen wonderful computer-generated graphics from today that are far better than anything that I've seen in the 60s. I don't know what the difference is. It's just I know the difference when I see it. Maybe it's heart, call it some je ne sais quoi, I don't know. I know how something makes me feel intrinsically, and yet I can't necessarily put it into words. It's the great mystery of art. And Risk of Rain's art aesthetic completely gives me the feels. Maybe it's because I was a big space nerd growing up, and I still am to this day. Maybe it's the slight tone of melancholy behind everything. Maybe it's the game's wonderful twist ending that suggests there is more complexity here than we may have thought possible in a video game. A final line on the same level as, forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. If you want to know what that line is, just play the game through. Just one time. Risk of Rain, everybody. Check it out. It's a great game. That's it for now. Till next time, world-renowned historian signing off. Be good, kiddos. I'm out.